did, what, 3 or 4 maps?
Yep. Semper cleaned up the previous match against Complexity Academy for Team Gravity, and actually Gravity came. That's right, correct?
Yep.
Okay. You gave me that look like, oh no.
No.
He cleaned up the match for Team Gravity against Complexity Academy. They're actually down 4-2, and he brought it back with 3 wins in a row to take it 5-4. So anything could happen here.
That's right, and it's been a few hours since he last played, so he's probably rested up now, been able to do those finger stretches and those mental exercises to get back into
I need
the
me
mindset.
a finger stretch.
Yeah, I mean, all sorts of goodies.
Like
so
you're playing a trumpet there.
The turkey trumpet.
So we're going to be on Guangali Beach here as we go to this map. As we've been noted from a few people in chat that this is water OP map.
It is the water OP map. Indeed. Hopefully water doesn't overpower the casters this time.
Both of these players having some pretty fast computers. This game loading up really fast.
That's right.
As we jump right on in. As I get my scoreboard set up in the upper right-hand corner, wearing the yellow trunks from Team Gravity, it is Semper.
And in the lower left corner, representing Team Young Money Cash Money Billionaires, but originally from Team Root Gaming, it is Masa.
So TBT, this is our first TBT of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
And theoretically could be our last, as one of these teams is on match point.
It is. Team Gravity now at 4. Team Ymcmb, represented by Root Masa at the moment, is at 3 wins. So game number 7 incoming, as we see what these players have in store for us today.
Looks like Masa is going to be playing a little bit more traditionally, at least by the placement of his first supply depot. Last time we did see him put a supply depot and a proxy barracks, and was able to get some heavy Reaper aggression, which he followed up with Hellions, that was able to take out Korean Air.
But Korean Air did not go out without a fight.
He certainly did not. He gave it his very best and his all to do so. Oh, looks, there, and now the refinery going down for Semper.
Yep, so possibly some Reapers of the Semper, as that's the only reason the refinery would be going down, other than to get a quick factory, so we could see either one. We have seen a lot of the mine drops early, as we have with Protoss in the TBT. It's a pretty strong build, but Masa putting down his gas a little bit later, as Semper is already complete and mining. So we will see what comes out. So definitely not going to be a Reaper from Masa. That was a pretty strong build from him last time, but in the Terran pieces, maybe it's not something he prefers.
Masa doing a scout out with his SCV, trying to see if he's getting any goofy things near him happening. But it looks like he's satisfied with what he sees in the immediate vicinity of his base, and he's going to go across map and scout.
So it looks like Semper adjusts his barracks there so he can eventually put down a tech lab or reactor as a Reaper's in production. Wants to get that out first so he can get the scouting down. But a SCV going to be coming up. Oh, is he going to be? It's like he's going to be putting down a command center right away.
Mm-hmm.
SCV doing suicides down there while waiting his instructions.
I don't know if it counts if you're in one of those giant, mech suits, though.
That would be, I could just envision doing suicides in a giant mech suit.
It'd probably be kind of fun.
Okay, well, let me know.
I mean, most things in a mech suit, it's...
Running suicides in a mech suit is not my idea of fun. I don't know about you.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Command center coming down from Masa as well, but he's choosing to put his down in base.
And that's going to be a little bit safer if there's any incoming aggression, but this Reaper is not going to be going the way that those Marines were positioned for. It's actually just going to walk right up the ramp because, why not?
And he even puts his supply depots down for it and
it
allows him a path into the base.
So one SCV does fall, a second one is being targeted, those Marines are running forward, 2 SCVs have fallen now from Masa, and that Reaper
nice
needs to jump out.
There. Now that is going to delay the command center for Masa, as he now has to rally another SCV down to get that up. He just keep poking up with that Reaper, sees those 2 Marines, and just gets on out, now producing 2 Marines at a time out of that reactor.
And we do see a, looks like double barracks coming down from Semper behind that original one.
Kazan Nazag in chat saying that he thinks ZVZ is one of the most boring mirror matchups. I definitely encourage you to watch on VODs the last ZVZ we just watched with Korean Air and Henderless. That is definitely one of the most exciting games I've ever watched, period.
That was pretty tense for a long time.
Yeah, if you would like to do that, you can go. All our VODs will be posted on YouTube at youtube.com/wingnetstarcraft. Go out and hit the subscribe button on that, and you'll be notified. All the VODs of the games that we casted throughout the league are up there as well.
So if you want to see more in-depth looks of the path to the playoffs and the finals, you can find those there.
And speaking of the path to the playoffs, those videos are in there as well.
All right. Semper has a bunker at the front of his natural with 2 Marines sitting in there as he is getting more SCVs. Masa's getting that starport that's just about finished too, though.
Definitely getting his money out of this Reaper as he even gets a Marine kill there, so the value is there, but he's going to jump it right onto these Hellions.
And they're going to... Yeah, that's the end of that.
But he does have a bunker up here at the front.
So 2 reactors are going down on those barracks and double producing Marines. But now we do see the Hellions coming cross map. There are 4 on their way and followed up by Marines. And behind this, Masa is taking his expansion as well.
Supply depot coming down.
Trying to increase that wall, and Semper's going to need to get these Marines in a better position if he wants to be able to do much here.
Oh man, but yeah, they're coming in. It's going to not help him get that supply up. The SCV building that supply depot gets roasted by the Hellions. Hellions going to be out here just kind of poking around. If he scanned up that cliff, he had those Marines nice and lined up there too, but Banshee coming down for Massa. So this is another pretty common play. We've seen Banshee and Cloak. So, but great epic scan from Semper.
Sees that Tech Lab cooking and that Starport cooking. He knows exactly what's going to be happening from this, and 2 turrets immediately go down. But this medevac is probably going to be lifting up some elevatoring action here.
The question, it looks like he did end up finish it? Yeah, he did cancel Cloak for that Banshee, so he's going to go ahead and just let Semper spend the money on the turrets, but he's going to let the Banshee finish anyway to just get a little harassment out there, but Semper's not going to know right away that that Cloak was canceled. So, I mean, that's 100 that he can spend on something else.
Terran Infantry weapon level 1 is just about wrapping up for Semper now, and he does have Stimpack and Combat Shield at the ready.
And now is, as you said, +1 just finishing. So this is great timing for Semper. Now it's just finished.
He does not have concussive shell on that Marauder, but there is only the 1.
Gosh, there's so many Hellions here, though. He needs to get these Marines spread out a bit. Otherwise, this is going to be a bit rough day for them.
So it looks like both players are just kind of deciding how they want to try and engage this. At Semper, it looks like he's expecting there to be some kind of movement here, and sure enough, there's the Banshee getting ready.
Yeah, the Banshee's going to throw him for a loop because he's going to come in and think that has a Cloak, so he's going to come up here and probably stim up. And he does not have the medevacs to heal it up, but he does kill the Banshee. Wow, great reaction from Semper.
And Masa chooses not to try and move in with that group at the front. He is poking here and there, but now the Marines are back at the front.
And now moving his starport to the reactor so that he can pump out 2 medevacs, as that stim did a significant amount of damage to all those units. And Masa just maintaining a threatening force outside of his base. But that's not stopping Semper from getting command center down, so that once he clears this out, he can expand.
Masa is getting tank behind this. He's got Stimpack cooking and more Marines on the way, so it looks like Marine tank from both players.
We have seen quite a few Marine tank TVTs, and I gotta say, it's definitely more interesting in Heart of the Swarm than it was in Wings of Liberty, but now it looks like Masa is going to pull on back with those Hellions.
And now that these medevacs are meeting up with the Marines, he decides it's a good time to move out. Masa did leave a single Marine behind to scout when that army does move out, so he is aware of what's happening. There are a lot of Hellions there, 9 Hellions. But with those medevacs, you got to wonder how much damage is actually going to be able to get done.
Yeah, I mean, he could, if he catches these Hellions in just the right position, he can stim up on them and kill them so quickly. So it's got to be just the, I mean, that's the name of the game with any mirror matchup. It's just got to be perfect positioning, a one-on-one of Marines here, so you can see what those. Oh, he's gonna stim up on these Hellions. He smells blood.
That's
right. And he catches them in the perfect position. Stutter step not all of them, but
5 of them went down.
Over half of those Hellions go down. That's exactly what we were talking about in Innovation.
That's right, and Semper doing a great job of positioning his Marines, moving single ones to try and figure out where things are. He's checking for that third base, doesn't see it. Stims forward again, is getting more kills. Now Marines versus Marines.
Wow, Semper just picking away at Mass's army right now.
And Semper has the significant upgrade advantage here.
I think he's just going to be waiting here until he gets his +1 attack finish. But yeah,
Mass's tanks are in the right position to try and defend against this, and even positioning his Marines for the inevitable attempt at the elevator.
Yeah, but he could do just the same and come. Well, there's a tank down here, but he could drop right on top of this tank here potentially. But still, that's pretty darn risky. Semper doing a scan there to see what the setup is, and that just doesn't look like all that well to move into. So he's going to pull on back.
Mm-hmm.
Getting his, looks like going to be maybe a stronger mech play coming out of Semper as he is getting the armory done, either that or just to get those upgrades down. We'll see. But oh, he can stim up and pick off all these medevacs right here, unsieged tanks. It looks like he's going to do that.
One does fall, and now stimming right back out. Oh, does get a Hellion kill. Does lose a medevac of his own, but stimming or continuing to move forward.
Good job staying outside the range of those tanks. Great control, great play by Semper.
He's got to be careful because he does not want to lose most of these.
Indeed, he does not. Looks like +2 attack coming down now, as well as a tower. He has put down his third base, so he's going to be pretty well defended up here. Got a sensor tower coming down, so he's going to see drops coming from the backside.
And, you know, Semper, again, having great positioning on these Marines. He does have a single Marine kind of running around the bottom side of the map. There was a one-on-one Marine battle for positioning, and he's going to be able to keep that. So he's, you know, he's looking pretty good right now. But Massa, you know, he's getting that expansion. He's continuing to tech up. He's got 2-2 in production, and 2-2 has not even been, or I'm sorry, that's Semper that has 2-2 in production, plus vehicle weapons level 1.
Here comes that load up, and this Marine here is going to see it. I'm not sure what exactly he's trying to do here, but maybe just stop these Marines running around the side. Tank loads up as well, so maybe just getting in position here. But a couple Marines running across the map to check the status of the bases here as well. But it looks like, wow, this is actually pretty good. But this tank is pulling back. It's sieging up, so if he can get in position,
stimming forward,
that tank.
And only gets one shot off before getting killed. Now his tanks are sieged up as well, and the Marines are coming from the side. And suddenly Semper's army is wedged in between Massa's and his natural. He's going to be able to do some heavy damage to that armory. He does go down, taking out supply depots. Massa is supply block, stimming forward again, targeting that natural. And the tanks, there's a big load up by Massa into the...
Semper's got to get out of there. All those Marines are such low health, and he does. Wow.
But what an incredible attack. Sorry, my computer is not keeping up with how awesome this is.
Oh, nice mind game there. He takes a medevac and just boosts it in just to make Massa think that he might have another stim going down, or a load up. But wow, that was some great damage there. Those tanks still whacking away at the SCVs, trying to mine out of that refinery as well as that supply depot. And
Massa stimming forward now, though. And all the tanks, he's got to be really careful. Both tanks fall, and now Semper needs to get out of there. He does load up and gets out. There is a small group that gets left
Semper
behind.
is smelling blood. Look at this reinforcement line across the middle. If we look at units lost, Massa's lost 7,000 resources compared to the 3,000 of Semper.
And Semper's getting +3 attack. His +2 armor is just finishing up, and he's probably going to start the armor +3 as soon as that
There's a
finishes.
small group of Marines and a Marauder running into the back of the natural of Massa. This is going to pull some of his units back, which is just what he wants because he's got a huge setup out here at the front waiting to go down.
And infantry armor level 2 just wrapping up.
Oh,
as
wow.
Massa
Huge
is
load
just
up.
finishing.
Does he even see this?
He did, because it did poke into the range of that sensor tower, but he's dropping now in heavy numbers.
Oh, all the Marines taking up those tank shots.
Oh my
as
gosh.
Massa gets repositioned, sieges up his tank, but the stim up by Massa.
And this actually is going heavily in Massa's favor now.
Yeah,
Semper's
Semper
going to
needs
have
to
to
load
run.
up and get out of there.
He's got to stay outside of those tank shots, but he's having a hard time.
Yeah, Semper just needs to load up, get out of there, and maybe swing around and do another drop here in the back or something. Oh, there is turrets there, so maybe that wouldn't work, but definitely does not want to get himself overextended, but definitely taking the opportunity to put down a 4th base.
Massa doing this, trying to do the same, moving forward to try and finish taking out those rocks. Semper was able to do that, and now is moving a giant army of Marine tank medevac down the center. He still does have these medevacs and Marines, and he does load up, boosting the empty ones around.
Massa putting down a command center out here in front. This is likely going to be turned into a planetary fortress, but some Marines chasing away all the medevacs. Oh, one does go down, and some medevacs misrallied there. But, you know, Masa does still know this there. He has a sensor tower. Oh, great load up and pullback of Masa.
So now he's going to be meeting up with the rest of his army, scanning to see where Masa's army is. And Masa has some decent placement on these tanks, on the low ground and on the high ground, but Semper is able to attack into these Marines.
There's a small force of Marines and medevac from Masa. Oop, as I hit the microphone, coming through, but he does see it with the sensor tower. He has so many Marines back there, well defended.
And Masa has 2 sensor towers himself now, so he's going to be able to see all the incoming units from either side.
Nothing in range of those tanks just yet, but he's doing the slow crawl up here, it looks like. He would certainly like it if he could get this command center down, but wow, look at the food, and Semper is supply capped right now.
At 200, but Masa is not far behind him.
Oh,
now doing the drops into the tank line, so the tanks attack themselves. Marines stimming forward, trying to do as much damage as they can before the tanks kill themselves, and is able to save the second one.
Oh, Semper doing a nice little run by on the third base here. Nothing back here, stimming back a few Marines to take it out, but Semper doing exactly what he needs to do, separating Masa's army, doing damage at his bases, and now Masa is in a tough spot here because his army is getting dwindled apart down here slowly.
And Medevac kind of boosting forward to get a little bit of some spotting going on. He is also taking a single Medevac full of 5 Marines and a single STV. He's going to try and do some drops of his own, but Semper is resupplying his army.
Semper had quite a few units back at his base, just keeping a defense for those swing rounds, but now he's moving a large number of those up. 6 more tanks and a huge number of Marines. As he's now going to be pushing in, stimming up to try and take out one of these tanks. Doesn't get it. Takes some tank shots, those Marines.
And lots of tank volleys going on, but in the meantime, he is busting down these rocks to get into that third base once again. That drop is moving forward for Masa, though.
Oh, this is a huge siege up for Semper, too. Masa's going to have to take his attention back to deal with this, as this command center might go down as these Marines stimming up, but they are taking tank shots.
So he's got to be really careful. And I got to say, Masa's tank placement is impeccable. He's got them on the high ground, he's got them on the low ground, making it very difficult for Semper to engage.
And since Masa can't use that command center for anything else, he's going to keep it up there to use it for spotting for his tanks. And
Masa pushing on the front, though, and he is able to take out the majority, all those tanks that are at the front. And now that drop is moving forward with those Marines, and they are trying to do as much damage as possible. Do pick off a few Marines and the SCV that was building a base.
Semper's everywhere he needs to be, though. Not only is this a planetary fortress, but he had 2 tanks and a good number of Marines back here to defend this. So, you know, now Semper is still supply capped. Masa is still at around 170, so we'll have to see how he handles this. But this is turning into quite the match.
Yeah, this is quite impeccable here. I mean, both players playing very well. Masa just having great control despite being really pushed back into his base, not really able to get out a whole lot, and Semper just attacking from every angle, expanding everywhere. Great split of those Marines trying to figure out exactly where things are.
Yeah, it looks like he sieged up those tanks just a little too far away. Wants to siege up behind this base and get a scan out. Oh, but Masa's doing the same thing, sieging up those tanks, so it's going to be... Oh, but these tanks are in great position. These SCVs are so clumped up.
Oh my gosh, and that 32 drops to 25, but those medevacs are going to drop immediately on those tanks, and those tanks are all going to fall.
Oh, but the Marines are there, quickly there to respond and stim up to deal with that, but taking tank shots.
Both players has got to be careful. Huge mules going down on that expansion as well, as Masa is running out of money. Semper is starving him. He's got the chokehold on, and there's not a whole
Semper
lot
doing
he
the
can
same
do.
thing, dropping those Marines on those tanks. 2 go down, 3 go down, taking tank fire from friendly fire, killing Masa's tanks. Great job by Semper. I mean, he's still at 200, and Masa's at 150 now, so he's slowly dwindling them down, and he does have all these units still over on the left side that he's essentially not using, so he's holding Masa back with just the force he has up here at the front.
That is right. In the meantime, he's also getting tons of command centers. He's expanding all over the map, and now he's deciding to pull back to resupply a bit.
I'm no Terran expert, but gosh, I wish he had about 3 medevacs over here and just loaded this all up and just tossed it right here in the main base of Masa, right on top of those 2 tanks. But here comes a force of Marines. Turret takes out the medevac, but taking down some expansions or add-ons on those buildings, enough to rebuild those, but the tank's enough to thwart it away. But holy Semper, look at the bases he's got.
And he's got those tanks. He left those tanks behind to spot if there's any base going down at that 4th base location.
And now he's basically using command centers as supply depots as he's putting them down. His bank is huge. He could resupply anything he wants. 45,000 minerals in the bank and 2,500. But you know, we're still at a positioning battle here as we move into the almost 30-minute point of this game.
And what a tense game it's been. Masa stimming forward, not really aware that he's running right into this whole army. He does find that and runs back a bit. Medevacs completely heal them. Semper trying to take advantage of the positioning. Oh, seizes those tanks up. The Marines stim forward to get some hits. Huge tank shots on Semper's army. But Masa taking big ones as well.
Yeah, instantly Semper remaxes and Masa is now just hitting 200 for the first time. So, gosh, this is it's going to come down to whoever has the best positioning. And now Command Center flying over to this side expansion, going to want to drop a bunch of... that medevac taken out.
It was trying to drop on top of those tanks, but the Marines say no, and now they're going to try one of their own, but the same thing happens to him. Does kill one tank, it looks like. So these players trading shots back and forth, medevacs, tank shots, Marine shots, everything running around.
Wow, this has been an absolutely incredible match, the positioning. And, you know, Semper still does have all this stuff over here.
That's right, and he has also spotted that base coming down from Masa in the lower right corner. Masa also has a drop in the top left area that is ready to move in pretty much at any time. 2 more medevacs are running up to try and meet up with those two.
It's like they're just going to go ahead and unload and maybe put a push on this force center. That's exactly what they're doing. As the tanks are sieged, Masa pushing from both sides, easily taking this out. That's going to take a hit on the food of Semper, but he's going to remax that easily, and looks like Semper's doing a push of his own. Gosh, this Masa really needs to take this base here.
Yeah, and Semper really needs to deny it if he wants to keep the stranglehold. Takes out the orbital command. All those, I mean, look at those Marines for Masa. They are all so low energy. Those medevacs are doing their darndest to try and get him back up. Semper about to lose a command center of his own.
Now looking at the upgrades, we do have 3-3 down for both vehicle upgrades in favor of Semper at the moment, as he has +2 vehicle weapons and +1 for Masa. But Semper just continuing to expand all over the place. Masa hasn't been able to get any aggression onto the bases of Semper. But with Semper pulling back, is this going to give Masa the opportunity to?
Yeah, I mean, Masa has to get more minerals. He's got to get more bases. He does have the one in the lower right corner, and Semper does not know about that. And it looks like Masa, for the most part, has been able to push his opponent back.
Yeah, but you know, at this point, when we look at the bases of Semper, I mean, he's got so many orbital commands, and Masa does not have as many. So every scan's super important right now. So as Masa comes into this, he's going to have to be sacrificing a mule every time he puts down a scan.
Which he does need those minerals, but it looks like Semper, while he has over 6K in the bank in terms of minerals, is hurting for gas at the moment.
Semper trying to put down another base, as there is a small group of Marines trying to come in here, but they are going to be taken out, so this little clutch force of Masa still is being a presence on the map. Oh, and Semper has gotten wind of the base on the right side, sending out 2 medevacs full of Marines.
But there is a large contingency of Marines there ready to defend it.
There it is. But they do not have medevacs. And he could just drop in here and, he's going to push both bases at once, so he's going to sacrifice one of them, stimming into this natural expansion. So many tanks not sieged.
Oh, but Semper's sieged up in huge tank shots.
Woo! This is going to drop on the tanks. He needs to deal with this medevac. He's going to, nice job unsieging all those tanks.
The Marines down in the lower right do clean up the drop from Semper.
This small contingent of Marines is still going to be here to deal with this base, but 4 Marines here from Semper to try and deal with it. And gosh, all these tanks of Semper. Unsieged Marines coming up, and they're going to stim up and take out 1 tank.
But taking heavy losses themselves.
Oh my gosh, Gallegation +3 attack coming down for mech for Semper. This is going to be a huge advantage once it actually finishes up, because Masa has only +1 attack for his tanks.
And it looks like Semper is moving on either side of the map, trying to push the bases that are on both sides. Loading up a medevac on the left, getting ready to drop on top of those tanks.
Gosh, there's so many tower rings on the map, and they're actually like perfect line, like Olympic rings.
1 tank does fall. But now the force on the lower right is engaging Semper, taking out these Marines, and now he can attack this orbital command unchallenged.
Yeah, there is a planetary fortress here, though, so that's going to be something he has to deal with. And Semper, with all those towers, he knows what's where, but this did cause him to pull back a bit.
So once again, Semper able to shut down a lot of the mining of Massa.
Oh, but Semper, he's bringing this contingency of Marines and tanks. If he could get this up here real quick and siege up at this spot, he could reach these only SCVs that Massa has mining here. But Massa has the same plan as he's moving Marines and a tank up the left side of the map towards the mining base of Semper.
Semper moving in the lower left, and the Marines are moving forward, stimming forward. There aren't any medevacs here. And huge tank shots going down.
Huge tank shots. This contingency of Marines and tank moving in. Oh, but this is a planetary fortress, so he did not plan for that. Sieges up the tank, but the Marines stim up, take the tank out. Big losses for Massa, and he's got 30 minerals right now.
Yeah, and his income is so low. It's just right now getting to about 1,000 minerals. He's only got 26 harvesters to the 64 of Semper.
Wow, that is incredible. So this is just going to come down to a starvation of Massa right now. I mean, Semper's got enough to play Sim City about 5 times over and start a colony of any kind that he wants, but now that his +3 is complete, he has no production as he is max moving in here. He's just going to come right up the gut now.
And these tanks are doing as much damage as they can, but the front two do take lots of shots, and Massa has boosted one of his medevacs, but isn't going to get it in there to do any drops.
Yeah, Semper basically now... Oh, and there are tanks sieged up at this spot, taking hits on the tanks at the third base. Most of the SCVs have been killed. Scans go down to give those tanks range, and Semper is starting to close the noose.
The stranglehold is tightening, but it looks like Massa is going to prevent this orbital command from landing where his previous base was, and now Massa is also taking a large contingency of Marine tank up the left side to try and deal with that planetary fortress.
Yeah, all the sensor towers that are around, this is the one spot that Semper doesn't have any, but I mean, let's be honest, if Semper was to lose all these SCVs, he could just make some more tanks.
He could. He does have the bank. It's not like he's going to run out of minerals anytime soon, but you do want to be careful. He's not really paying attention now, moving those SCVs forward to repair that planetary fortress, but unfortunately nothing's in range, so the planetary fortress isn't really shooting anything.
Oh, but Massa's going to lose all of this once... Oh, the load up of Marines is going to drop on the tanks, and he's sieging up the tanks, so this is going to be quite a big loss for Massa.
Oh, and the Marines move forward right into the tanks. The medevacs are now dropping on top of the tanks.
That's exactly the swing that Semper needed to be able to push into here eventually. That was a huge contingency.
And Semper is over 10,000 minerals now. Over
10,000!
I mean, this is so much. And Massa, I mean, considering how strangled he is, he's been holding on so admirably and so hard. You can tell what an amazing player he is.
Oh man, these +3 attack tanks just blow up these Marines so fast. They stim up by Massa to kill these tanks off, but at what cost? He's now almost under 100 food.
Yeah, he's really got to be careful. More Marines and medevac running up towards the base of Semper, but tanks are there to greet him. Does take out the tank and gets out of there as it is a planetary fortress. There are more tanks there.
Moving in on the 40-minute mark of this game, Semper just scanning around all over the place. Let's look at the army supply. I mean, the army supply huge, 142 supply for Semper, just because he does not have that many workers.
And Massa is now moving an orbital command to the right-hand side, but Semper is pushing on the left base of Massa and doing huge amounts of damage here too. The tanks are trying to get shots off, but it's just not going his way. And oh my gosh, now Semper is intercepting this orbital command in the bottom right. That Massa is not able to get minerals.
The spidey sense of Semper is just absolutely... And that's GG! And that is GG for the whole thing. Gravity coming back, the underdogs of this tournament. Not necessarily this tournament, but going into the finals. I don't think many people expected them to come through. That was an absolutely incredible, epic game.
Insanity. And what a intense game from start to finish. Semper really just putting the stranglehold on his opponent, surrounding all those bases. Big tank wars, big Marine stims and drops and all sorts of things. Semper just really getting the stranglehold on those bases and not letting go.
Absolutely. I mean, that was just... I mean... We just saw two of the best games of StarCraft I have ever seen.
Yeah, they were quite impressive. Both very tense games, very equally matched players, and still the hairs on my neck are standing up.
The hairs on everything are standing up.
The
man.
adrenaline is coursing. Incredible.
I was just going into this. Mirror matchups aren't my favorite, but and Gravity stepping up to the plate, taking out two of the biggest players, not only in this league, but just two huge players in Hendrilisk and Massa.
Yeah.
Just absolutely incredible play. The will of the force was with Team Gravity tonight. Just awesome games. I cannot believe what we just saw.
That was incredible. The camp of Gravity is certainly celebrating hard tonight, as that was a epic win for both Semper and Korean Air.
Yeah, I'm trying to find